Hello and welcome to Learn, Do, Become Radio. My name is Aaliyah Clausen and I'm one of the team members here at Learn, Do, Become. And I'm excited to share this podcast because it is back to school season here in the United States where we live. And a lot of people have been talking about getting organized, getting back to school, and many people in our community have asked if we have any resources for teachers. We do have a lot of people in our formal STEP program who are teachers and who have used our STEP or Steps to Everyday Productivity program. And I was able to compile a few of their words of wisdom, a few of their pieces of advice here in this podcast. And if you want to check out the show notes, I have everything written down pretty much word for word and anonymously at learndobecome.com/episode 254. So I hope you enjoy all these awesome ideas. And just one more announcement before we jump into the podcast. As of when I'm recording this, we are 2 days away from our first ever Step Momentum accountability group to begin. And that's happening on August 28th of 2024. We're going to have a kickoff call with Team Learn, Do, Become. And after the kickoff call, we're going to be giving you 4 weeks of bite-sized assignments and everything you need to successfully set up your own STEP Command Central that we're going to be talking about in today's podcast. So if you're thinking, I am a teacher or I am in another very busy stage of life, or maybe a stay-at-home parent in a different profession, whatever it may be, a STEP Command Central truly works for any and every stage of life. So we wanted to emphasize that that's starting in just a couple days, and we have some really fantastic guarantees, and really it's a no-risk kind of thing. If you want to come in and try it out, and if you're brand new to the program, we have a 60-day money-back guarantee, as well as a guarantee that if the STEP program and having your Command Central built after following all the assignments we've given you, if it doesn't work, we'll not only give you a refund, but we'll also pay you via a gift card. So we have kind of some fun things that go along with that. The full details to learn more about it and sign up can be found at learndobecome.com/momentum. So that's our fun thing that our team is working on this month and through the month of September, and we hope that you join us. And for all members of the Mastery program already, this is included with your program, so you're welcome to sign up on your main programs page inside your members area. So again, you can find all the details to sign up for that at learndobecome.com/momentum. All right, and now I want to start out this podcast with a few messages that we've received from teachers who are going through the STEP program. One of the teachers said, I teach in a different location every day. Without STEP, I would be a wreck. The next teacher said, I set up my Command Central at home over the summer and then took aspects to school and started weaving them in little by little. So far, I've kept them separate, but school gets enough of my time, and I'm trying to keep my life my own. And I also linked a resource here on our show notes page about how many Command Centrals do I need and how should I set that up if I'm in different locations. Another teacher said, I'm a teacher of multiple classes, and I coordinate work study for students, do scheduling, discipline, counseling, and manage multiple students and staff. The first thing I learned when I started this program is that I could not keep up all the work that I have and be effective as a teacher. I'm actually supposed to have another teacher, but can't seem to get the support in place from my school yet. I almost quit this STEP program because it showed me the truth that what I'm doing is not physically possible for anybody. The truth hurts, but I'm slowly trying to delegate and expect more from other people. And I love what these 3 teachers have shared because they're all in different stages of teaching. They all have different things going on, but they were able to use the STEP program so that it fit best into their teaching and their own needs. And especially this last teacher who shared that it was kind of eye-opening to see how many things they were responsible for and that they did need more support and couldn't possibly do it all on their own. And that's one of the biggest things we emphasize in our Steps to Everyday Productivity program is that a lot of times we pile a lot of projects and tasks and routines on ourselves more than is physically or humanly possible. And sometimes we need to take a step back with this program and realize I'm adding way too much to my plate. I'm only one person, I'm only one human, and I just need to simplify, even though it can be really difficult. I think that's one thing that's really helped me personally. I'm not a teacher or an educator, but I definitely have had to simplify in certain areas thanks to what I've been learning in the STEP program. All right, the next thing I shared here on the show notes is a picture from Karen. We shared this in our newsletter last week, but I thought it was awesome and applicable. Karen said, "Huge win. Because I added class period folders into my school command central, I can ask sub-teachers by email to put papers for my review in them. I am so grateful for this class." And I think by class meant the STEP program. But that's so awesome. This image on the show notes page just shows a few different folders labeled with different class periods, and it looks like an awesome way for a teacher to reference, hey, so such and such materials are in this folder. If you can go locate them or put things in it, then I'll check it out when I'm back in the classroom. So I thought that was pretty fun. All right, another STEP member shared this response to a post from a brand new teacher who was looking for some support in the STEP Mastery Facebook group. And that's one of the things I love about this group, is that it really is a place for support and encouragement from the community. And that's where we're going to be having all of our accountability posts for our STEP Momentum accountability group starting on August 28th. And so this new teacher was asking for some advice about having different classroom setups and when to do STEP related things. And one teacher in the group, this person is not a teacher, but says, "I'm not a teacher, but have had multiple locations for work and volunteering. I've had physical work areas at all locations with a physical and digital inbox at each. And then I also did a weekly review at each location, Fridays for work and Sunday afternoons for home. Weekly reviews are where I've gotten the most momentum in STEP. For example, on a Friday or whichever day works, you could schedule an hour of weekly review for the high school and schedule a break and then schedule an hour for the junior high. You could add this time for weekly reviews to your calendar so that it's blocked out and prioritized. For your weekly reviews, you could have a portable container to help you. You could throw everything from the physical inbox into this container for the location and then process it at your centralized location. Wherever you decide, you'll have your home base." So this person's teaching how they like to set up their separate command centrals at work and at home, but then they have ways that they can keep things a little bit more centralized and process things in one location, but then keep the details for home and work separate. This person also shared, "I have a main context-based next actions list in an app, and I use prefixes for the context to help me identify tasks per location. For example, for work, I would use work-desk, work-phone. For volunteering, I would write volunteering-email. So essentially, they're using our ideas for a context-based next actions list, but segmented by the different work, home, or volunteering that they're going to be in when doing those, which I think is such a good idea if you are in a lot of different places, all times of the week. And then several steppers shared thoughts in a different post for a busy homeschooling parent who was wondering how they could implement the STEP program when there's just so much going on. And I think these are great words of wisdom that could apply to teachers in all capacities, whether you're homeschooling or you're in a physical classroom or you're a virtual teacher. I think some of these principles can apply no matter where you're at. So the first said, "I'm a homeschooling mom as well, and by the end of the day, I know I was generally completely physically, intellectually, and emotionally tapped out. One suggestion, consider if you could institute a 30-minute quiet time, maybe right after lunch or mid-afternoon, when the kids get to do something they can do without your direct supervision, and that can give you a 20-minute window for STEP training. That will really add up over time. And what you're looking to do initially is begin to retrain your mind to some new ways before you do any of the actual steps. Slow but steady, you can begin to shift this." And then the next person said, "You could do STEP first thing when you wake up, and they haven't yet. That'll give you a chance to listen and do a little micro burst, which is just a 10 to 20 minute burst of working on something that you're excited about. So in this case, the STEP program. And it can help you feel motivated throughout the rest of the day. I'm currently doing that with STEP, and it makes a world of a difference. From a mom of 2, teacher of 4th grade, and a single/married parent because my husband works the opposite shift. We got this. You can do it." And this final person said, I am homeschooling and understand your longing to boost productivity and incorporate April's genius step strategies to simplify much of the complexities of life. Even the smallest step in the right direction is progress. We are generally creatures of habit, and it takes time for us to process change. Give yourself time to adjust, and remember, some goals may be learning goals. Letting new ideas like step principles sink into my mind for a bit is helpful for me. Watching a module 5 times may be helpful. Not all goals have to be, I climb Mount Everest action type goals. Maybe one of your kids would volunteer to check up on you every morning to see if you finished a step-related job the night before, or just once a week. Saturday may be a good day if you don't have homeschool teaching that day. So I thought that was a fun way to not only have time allotted for working slowly but surely through your STEP program, but also to involve the family if that's something you choose to do. All right, and here are a few more ideas from teachers that were shared in our STEP Mastery program generally. One said, I have a Google Calendar just for teaching related stuff, and it's connected to my personal calendar. And that's a great idea because they could probably turn that calendar layer on and off so they could see everything all together. But then when they're at home, they could take off the teaching calendar and vice versa. Another said, my routines are printed and sit on the front cover of my binder. I have a bell schedule and a few remember to items. Another said, I keep several lists in my phone, and I'm learning that, quote, day of the week lists work best for me. I can say, Siri, add copies for a specific subject to my Tuesday list, and then there it is during my office time on Tuesday. So I thought that was kind of fun, using your digital assistant to your advantage to help you add things to certain lists for each day of the week. That sounds like a great idea. Another says, when it comes to paperwork, consider your classroom procedures for turning in and returning assignments. What's your grading routine and when? And I thought this was a great idea because when you look at the different components of your classroom and the different places that you have to direct your attention as a teacher, some of those might be future projects. It might not be possible to totally change every system all at once, and really it isn't realistic and possible to do that all at once. So you could make future and someday projects to get to things that you've been wanting to work on for a while, but haven't quite had the time or energy to do so yet. And another person even said, I have a separate list for school projects. So they choose to segment their list from what they have in their personal and family life. And finally, I have a little section down here called Supporting Students with STEP Principles. And one of the most life-changing things that was taught to me as a 10-year-old was how to break down large projects into next actions. I received a science fair project packet when I was in 5th grade, and truthfully, it just about consumed me because I hated having this looming deadline and feeling like I couldn't make enough progress to make an entire science fair project happen in one sitting. And really, no one can make an entire science fair project happen in one sitting, but I was just so used to having small homework assignments or small things that I could do really quick. And I just felt like it was so much to have to do an entire science fair project, an experiment, a poster board, a little write-up, and all the stuff that needed to happen. So my mom sat down with me one day and showed me exactly how to break this project down. As we sorted my next actions into things that I could do alone, things I needed my mom's help with, things that needed to be done on the computer, errands we needed to run, stuff like that. And it was so awesome to see every little step of this project could be sorted by what needed to happen first, all the way to what was going to happen last, and then sorted by category of what I could do all by myself and where I needed help from my parents, and if we needed to run any errands, type things up, stuff like that. So for any teachers out there, if there's just one thing that you're able to share with your students, that is what I'd recommend sharing first. I think that was totally life-changing for me, and that's what I use and continue to use to this day. I couldn't do my life without the way that we teach about projects here at Learn to Become. And that might sound kind of like a generalization, like, oh, I'm sure you could figure things out. And I'm sure I could figure things out as well. But I don't think I would have the same level of calm and peace and excitement for completing projects as I do right now with this STEP system in place. So if there is a way for you to, as you're presenting a little project or an assignment for your students, to say, hey, I want to share something that's been really helpful for me. Or, hey, here's a way that you could look at breaking down this project so that it doesn't feel stressful and that you feel really excited about it. And I think that can just be a great stepping stone for teaching about things later on. If you decide that you do have time and energy and the ability to share any other step principles, you could go on to talk about using a calendar, or you could talk about using a context-based next actions list. But I do know that you have your curriculum that you need to teach, and that you have a lot of other things going on. And I know that your example, not only in education, but also in organization, will ripple out and make a huge difference. So thank you to all those who are teaching in all the different fields, all the different subjects in any capacity. You are making a huge difference. And if you have any other favorite step-related principles that you want to share here in the comments, you're welcome to at our show notes page, learndobecome.com/episode 254. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're looking for extra community, extra support, and a little bit more accountability when it comes to setting up your Command Central and creating your entire STEP system, you are welcome to join us for our STEP Momentum Accountability Group that is happening on Wednesday, August 28th. That's our kickoff call of 2024. And then we'll be sending text and email assignments, invitations, and links to accountability posts throughout the 4 weeks. So we'd love to see you there. Full details can be found at learndobecome.com/momentum. So thanks so much for joining us today on Learn, Do, Become Radio.